Hello friends, today I would like to talk to you about one book. This is Rebel Sultans by Manu S. Pillai. This is the book. And in this book, he is trying to tell us about the history of Deccan. And before telling anything about the book, let me tell you about Manu S. Pillai. He is a young genius. This is his second book. His first book was Ivory Throne. It's about the history or story about the royal family of Travancore. And he started research on the book and writing the book when he was just 19. And he went to London to do the research because the manuscripts and documents were available only there, maybe untouched by anyone for 60-70 years, because he wanted to get the authentic, real, original information from the real source. So that book was released when he was 25. So he did 6 years of painstaking research to produce that book. So this is his second book, Rebel Sultans, and this is about the history of Deccan. Deccan is a variant in pronunciation of Dakshin, which means south, and which means South India. So the history of Deccan for a person from Kerala like me is something hardly anyone talks about here, because Deccan history means the history mostly of the other regions than Kerala. So it's not very relevant to the people of Kerala unless somebody is really very interested in history. So what I mean is, it doesn't come in general day-to-day talk. And Manu, but different from this, was brought up in Pune, which he describes as the heart of the Deccan. And why he wrote this book is that whenever they studied the history of Deccan, or whenever somebody discussed history of Deccan, he just talked about some very few topics like Shivaji, the ruler, such things. But what he's trying to say is, there has been chapters in the history of Deccan which are also very important, which are very eventful and need to be discussed and studied. So what he has done in this book is, he has subtitled this as The Deccan from Khilji to Shivaji. That is, when normally people talk only about Shivaji, mostly when talking about Deccan, what he is doing is, he is trying to tell the story of what happened before Shivaji. That is, around 500 years before Shivaji. He starts the story from there, from 13th century to the 18th century. That is the time span covered in this book. And the story ends with Shivaji. It's not starting with Shivaji, or it's not just about Shivaji. The Deccan is the southern part of India. And this Deccan itself can be roughly divided into two during the time these stories were taking place. The north part of the Deccan were mostly Bahmani rulers, the Sultans, which had a Muslim background generally, because they descended from north, and they have connection with Persia, they have roots Turkish and all such things, and the Shahs of Iran, Persia, and they came and settled at the Deccan, and they started prospering and growing in power and influence, and they established kingdoms. So they established sultanates, they were sultans. And southern part of Deccan is generally the Vijayanagar kingdom, and there were rulers who were mostly Hindus. So generally people understand this Deccan story as a story between two religions or religious fights etc. But the truth is something else. Religion is just a pretext. Religion has always been used in war, in politics, just for the power. Because religion is a very good weapon to make people fight. So this is happening in today's politics also. Religion as such, I don't think have any fights between them. Even though people consider the Deccan fightings between the Bahmani Sultans and the Vijayanagar Empire as a Hindu-Muslim fight, actually it was not so. They were having a lot of gives and takes between the two regions. There were marriages, and there were contracts, and there were friendly meetings and such things. So I have read somewhere that in Indian history there have been more fightings between Muslim rulers and Muslim rulers than there have been between Muslim rulers and Hindu rulers. So, when the focus is on power, they don't bother about religion. They fight with each other. And in this history, there are episodes where we see when someone is greedy for power, they don't even feel any guilt in maiming, crippling, or killing their kin. So this is what we see. Rivalry between brothers, rivalry between father, son, and such things are there. And these episodes talk to us about a lot of remarkable personalities, men as well as women. And this book is replete with so many references that even a single paragraph Manu S. Pillai has not written without referring to many sources. So he has been trying to be ultra sure that what he writes is right. So for that he has made a lot of references even when writing a simple point. So he is referring to multiple sources, and wherever there has been any clash between two historical sources which he has referred, he has mentioned that also in the notes. And there is at the back of the book around 75 pages of notes and references and bibliography. And one good thing in let me finish one thing about Shivaji. Shivaji was an able ruler, a valiant fighter, a brave man. Everything is there, and in this book also it is represented as such. But it doesn't endorse the view some present organizations or some present ways of thinking makes us believe that he was a Hindu ruler fighting against the Muslim people. Even if some ruler fights in the name of religion, it's because they identify those people with those religions. Because in the north of the Deccan there are the Bahmani Sultans, and they are identified with their religion, with their culture, with their language. So if somebody hates them, they hate their religion also. So one more example about religion, one more thing, very important thing to talk about in this, even the Bahmani area, even the Sultans area of that means the northern part of the Deccan, they more than once have switched between Shia Islam and Sunni Islam as their official religion of the empires. This is because they wanted to satisfy the Shah of Persia, the Persian rulers. Because Persia, which is Iran today, was mostly for most of the history we know, have been a Shia region. So when the Bahmani Sultans need to be friendly with the Iranian Persian rulers, or they expect some help from them or support from them, they suddenly switch their official religion to Shia. But actually most of the people know, I think, that enmity between a Muslim and a Hindu is very mild compared to the enmity between a Sunni and a Shia, because these two variants of Islam are too antagonistic to each other. When we refer to the history, we know about that, why they fight with each other so much. They don't have any problem with the Hindus. Muslims, Hindus, just they are two different religions. They may have enmity or fightings, but not too strong like the Shia and Sunni differences. And yet these rulers nonchalantly switch from Shia Islam to Sunni Islam from time to time and back. So I told you these things are mentioned in this book also. I just mentioned this here to tell you that religion has nothing to do in these fightings. So people use religion for their own gains. This is what we have been seeing all through history and even in our contemporary political scenario. And as I told you, there are a lot of references in this book which will be helpful to anyone who would research further into all these subjects, all these personalities and stories mentioned in this book. And one thing Manu has done is that the Deccan history was not really readably available to the general public so far. This is what I think, because these Deccan history generally are scattered here and there in different various number of books, and they were mostly meant for scholars, the language especially. But what Manu has done in this one is he has made it sweet, beautiful. His literature is very fluent, lucid style, so that anyone can read this just like we read a work of fiction, just like we read a novel. It's very interesting to read. And another thing is he has given a very good chronological listing of all the events mentioned in this book, which is very, very helpful in reading, because while we go from chapter to chapter, wherever we have some doubts or some we need a recap, or we forgot some facts and dates and years, we can come back to this list all the time. Or even after finishing the entire book, we can come back and go through this list just to recapture everything, just to summarize whatever we have read. You see, it starts from here, from 1206, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are totally 8 pages of this chronological listing of events, up to 1707. And one more good thing about this book is it has some maps which is very helpful to see the condition of the Deccan at various stages in history. One is how Deccan looked like in the 1400. This is the picture of the map. This was how Deccan looked in 1400, and you see roughly this is the southern part of India, and it has been divided to 2 portions. This is roughly the Bahmani area, and this is the Vijayanagar Empire. And the Bahmani Sultanate consists of Daulatabad, Bidar, Gulbarga, Golconda, Warangal, Bijapur, all these places. And Vijayanagar as Madurai, Tanjavur, Hampi, all these places. And in between these 2 regions, very interesting, I felt it's very interesting. And there are 2 rivers, Krishna and Tungabhadra. And in between these 2 rivers, as a triangular patch, there is a place called Raichur. And this reminded me of the Tigris and Euphrates and Babylon in between. So this Raichur also has been has also witnessed certain events during this history. That is how in 1400 it looked like, and in 1520, that is around 1 century later, this is the picture. So now it shows, after 100 years, it shows that the Bahmani area has been divided into different regions under different sultans, like Ahmednagar under Nizam Shah, Bidar under Barid Shah, Berar under Imad Shah, Golconda under Qutub Shah, who is the founder of Hyderabad, then Bijapur under Adil Shah. So actually 5 rulers, 5 sultans. These all sultans together constituted the Bahmani sultans. And Vijayanagar in the south has been always throughout this historical epoch has been just one empire, one kingdom, not like many sultans, many rulers. It's mostly Krishna Devaraya and all such rulers from time to time, but Vijayanagar was one single empire. And then there is again one more century later, in the 17th century, it looks like this, which means now the Bahmani Sultanate has expanded and it has reached the eastern side of India. So from west coast to the east coast, it has spread out, and even to the south it has spread a little more, and now the size of the Bahmani kingdom, Bahmani empire, is larger, and the Vijayanagar empire becomes small. So these are very helpful maps in understanding this book, and there are a lot of colorful pictures which Manu has collected from various museums. Very precious pictures, very rare pictures. And another thing in this book is, as I told you, it describes a lot of remarkable men and women and their stories in the history, their places in the history. And the book describes how people were getting mixed with each other, how religions were getting mixed, how religions were cooperating with each other, and how religions were fighting with each other, and how people of different cultural as well as ethnic backgrounds were moving from place to place. And even the Bahmani area, you can see through them there were Islamic, Arabic, Persian, Turkish, all influences, all sorts of influences, and even African slaves used to be there in hundreds or thousands, and some of them became even big personalities and kingmakers and even kings, even similar to they acquired similar powers as kings. And this cover actually shows 2 people on the elephant, and the one sitting at the back is a Negro, is an African. So this is representative of what was a kind of place Deccan was during the time discussed in this book. And I'm not gone much deep into the details of this book, because if I should go deeper, I should name each and every person, each of the sultans, each of the other rulers from the Hindu side, including Shivaji, and how they interacted with each other, each and every event. I am not going into all such details. I hope you will read the book yourself to learn and understand all those events in the history. My aim was just to introduce the book to you, just to tickle you, just to evoke some interest in you, so that you will be looking for this book and you will be trying to read this book. And I think this is not a book to be missed, and that's why I just thought of talking to you about this book today. And I hope I'm sure this book is a good read actually, because it's very lucid and it is as sweet as fiction. You can, as I told you, Deccan history episodes are scattered here and there. Manu has collected all together and then arranged according to chronology, and is talking to us step by step. So there is a continuity in the history, and we can really enjoy. Since there is a continuity, we feel like it's a work of fiction, and as we read a novel, we can read it very beautifully and with much interest. So I hope you all will read this book and comment about this book. I think this book must be discussed more and more, and this book, I'm sure, as time goes, it will definitely have its place in the set of history books we talk about. Hope I have given enough information to you. I hope you will read the book and you will like it. So thank you for listening.